Hey there, adventurers, and welcome back to another episode of the Awkward Dungeon Master. This week, I want to talk to you guys about leading questions on your session 0. So, when I say leading questions, what I'm talking about is character creation. For my most recent campaign, which is the Underwater campaign, you've heard myself talk about it a little bit, and then my friend Martha and I talked about it a little bit on a more recent video. And during our session 0, what we did was I had 10 questions that I asked everyone individually. What I did was I told them session 0 was just going to be a character creation session. We sat down, and then as everybody was finishing up their character sheets, deciding on their race and some of their class abilities and stuff like that, I pulled everyone aside, one at a time, into a different room of the house, so everything was completely private between the two of us. And I asked them these 10 questions. So question 1 was, did you have a happy childhood? The answer for most adventurers, and honestly for most characters that I've seen people create, is usually no. So that is a leading question in that it asks a yes-no question, but then I can ask you to elaborate on that. So if you say, yes, I had a happy childhood, I can say, well, what about your childhood was happy? Or what about your childhood was tragic? And then we can get some more extensive backstory on that character and where they come from and what drives them within the world. And then question 2 was, what do you care about? That's a very ambiguous question on purpose. I asked it that way so it can be a physical thing, a place, a memory, a person, an abstract concept like family. And for some people, it was knowledge, would be an abstract concept. For some people, it was their hometown. So the town that we all started in, trying to live up to honoring their family or something like that. It's just a very basic, tell me something that you care about. Your mom, your sister, your brother, your secret lover. There's different stuff that I got from all the different characters that we had. And then the third question. Most of these are going to be ambiguous. I will just tell you that now. Just because that gave my players more room to branch out and interpret the question however they wanted to. And I think, honestly, it gave us a lot more interesting and varied backstories, so everybody doesn't have anywhere near the same backstory, but they're close enough in relation to each other in the world that I was able to kind of tie everyone in together in-game for story purposes. Question 3, what is your biggest fear? I think that one had some interesting answers. I'm just going to dig through them. So my husband is on his second character because his first character right out of the gate, his biggest fear was going back to the surface. So he's playing a half-elf that used to live on the surface but moved underwater because he couldn't handle all of the war and strife that was happening on land. So one of the first missions they did required them to figure out where some fishing boats were coming from. He didn't even want to go anywhere near the surface. So even just following them to kind of get an idea of where they were coming from was completely out of the question for him. But I had that planned, honestly, before we even started this session, and I worked in and out for him too. It wasn't good enough. We've given each other so much crap about that. It's not even funny. That's hilarious, actually, but it's fine. That one's pretty easy. Somebody said dying. Someone else said losing their community. This person basically said, allowing other factors in their life to drive who they are as a person. And this one was way more basic. I had somebody say, I'm terrified of giant sea centipedes because they have too many legs. So, I really shouldn't laugh, but interpretation. This person said they have an intense fear of failing. So open-ended questions can lead to a lot of different answers. Obviously, my players tended to go more abstract, more intense kind of ideas whenever they were answering through these questions. But we also had some more simple ones, like that I'm scared of centipedes. I am not going to share this one from my players just because I know some of them watch this channel, but I had, my question number 4 was, what is your biggest secret? And I'm not going to lie, some of them are pretty juicy. If you guys are interested in hearing some of these character bios and what they're willing to, I don't want to take agency away from my players by sharing all of their information on the channel unless it's something that they're comfortable with, because a lot of them do watch the channel. But if you guys want to see character bios, if you're interested in that, go ahead and just message me on any one of my social media platforms or throw a comment down below. and I will see if any of my players are willing to kind of come on the channel and we can chit-chat about their character backstories. If you want to see that, tell me. Otherwise, it's probably not going to happen. So, question number 5. What made you want to start adventuring? And a follow-up question for that one was, what major event caused you to choose this path? And again, we had some interesting ones. Some people at the beginning of the adventure were not looking to go adventuring, but some of the inciting incidents that occurred at the beginning caused them to. So that's kind of the answer to their own question. I did give them the ability to leave any of these questions blank if they felt like it. I had very few. I think everybody had maybe one at most, 1 or 2, but there's 10. So I had plenty of information to get on with incorporating backstories and characters into the main plot line of our campaign. Question number 6. What do you value in other people? And I think I can run through these. Kindness, selflessness, knowledge, friendship, honesty. Don't kill me. Very simple. Honesty and loyalty. This person's a little bit selfish in saying, what they can provide for me. And then someone with a good story. I appreciate that. So, again, a variety of answers. A lot of them are kind of predictable, but others are more interesting. Like, I appreciate somebody who can give me a good story. Or I'm only interested in what other people can provide for me. It's a very selfish kind of answer, which is interesting. Everyone I've talked to in our game has been really pleased with the fact that we did this. It kind of got them thinking more complexly about their characters and where they came from and what drives them and what they're looking for in life. So it's been really interesting for me too, just to kind of incorporate everything. Question number 7. What is a dream of your character? I know some people were just out for seeking knowledge and others have more intrinsic kind of things that they were looking for. One person was on a quest, almost like a pilgrimage of sorts for some religious knowledge, and other people were just living their lives and trying to protect their family, drug into everything. So dreams were interesting. So question number 8. Name someone your character has wronged or who has wronged them. I got a good mixture, I felt like. I felt like it was going to be, or I expected it to be, a lot of people telling me other people who had wronged them. I had some interesting interpretations of it. I had one character who said they witnessed someone else committing a crime and for that reason resented the other person. But it wasn't actually done to them individually, which I thought was interesting. So that's one of the things in someone's backstory. Number 9, name something your character would literally kill to learn. So a little bit more intense. I don't know if we have any. I had some people leave those ones blank. This person said the truth of faith, which we kind of talked a little bit for. I touched upon somebody who was on that religious pilgrimage. This person just said why? ? Leave it to Richard. What does everything mean? So we had some kind of abstract answers again with those. Some people chose to leave it blank. I would be interested to do... We're coming up on our 1-year anniversary of running this campaign. We started running it around the same time I started this channel. I would be interested at the 1-year mark to go back and sit down with everybody and ask these questions again and see how much the answers have changed. I think that could be really interesting because characters are fluid just like people. Their experiences, I would assume, if you're really intensely role-playing your character, which my party seems to pretty frequently be very much submersed into the role-play aspect of the game. I think their characters are different people now than when we started. And the last question I had was actually not a character-based one. Question number 10 was, what are you looking for in D&D for our sessions and in the campaign as a whole? So I got a lot of good responses from people for that. It helped me to prepare appropriate content for my players that they were going to like. And also to give me a good scope of how many people were on the same page as to what they're looking for in the game. The vast majority of my players asked for a role-play intense session and campaign. So I have really tried to focus on the narrative storylines and their backstories getting pulled into everything and really engaging the role-play aspect of the game, giving them cool NPCs to interact with that have interesting character traits. So my absolute favorite NPC at this point, her name is Auntie Sea Spinner, and she's a hag. She's delightful. Not evil, just she has a house that randomly shows up wherever it feels like it. Yes, I did say that like that correctly. You did not mishear me. The house is conscious. I'm so pleased with how that turned out. Those were my 10 questions that I asked all of my players whenever we were doing character creation. What do you guys think? Is there anything else we should have included, or do you do this at home? Do you include different questions whenever you guys do this kind of stuff at home? Let me know down in the comments. And until next time, keep it rolling, adventurers.